Hello everyone! Welcome to Ida's Tailoring. In today's video, we are gonna make a eurohem. So let's go! These are my jeans and I've been using them too long. My husband is the one that is pinning them for me. He's excellent. So I have it on my table and I wanted to show you how I marked it when the pinning is this way. First of all, just to be sure, I'm gonna mark the inside part just because it's there and it's exposed and it's easy. But the important thing is to mark it in the right side of the fabric. See? This is my length. We have to be sure that accommodate the pants folded by the center lines. And we are going to stretch it out just to make sure that one leg won't be longer than the other. Then I'm going to take my ruler, and for a straight hem, I make sure that my ruler is perpendicular to the center back in order to make my first line. Although I'm going to make it a little longer just because I like kind of a shaggy look. Then I'm going to do exactly the same at the front. Make sure your line is perpendicular and then make your second line. Now I can cut it. And of course, you need a good scissor for that. And right away, I'm gonna make sure to pin each hem to its corresponding leg, so you don't get confused. The next step is to open that hem. Let me show you how I do it in a very easy way. I take my hem and I put it in between my leg and the table so I can get some tension, you see? And then I can use my blade and open it. There are a few things that you have to consider. You want to make sure the blade is tilted about 10-15 degrees up. So in the case you have an accident, you are gonna break a material that is not as important as the top of your pants, obviously. When I go to the seams though, I'm making sure to go a little bit more slow because it's a little tricky and you can really damage the material. Now my hand is open, and of course the next step is to clean up all that thread. If you don't do it, then the finish is not really nice, doesn't look good. I use my blade to scrape the excess of the thread, and that gives me very good results. Look at that, it's all done and clean. And the next step is to cut the excess of fabric we have here at the top. So more or less from the top of the hem until the edge, we want about 3/8 of the inch. I have to say that most of my colleagues prefer and find that it's better to cut it at 1/4 inch. But I feel more confident in my sewing if the seam allowance is a little bigger. I'm gonna right away to pin that hem to its leg, and I'm gonna take the other hem and I'm gonna do exactly the same. It's done, and now I can go to my sewing machine to start working. Well, sewing. I wanna sew in a comfortable way, so the first thing I'm gonna do is to turn my jeans inside out. I'm gonna take my hem, and I'm not sure if you noticed, but these pants are a little bit of bootcut, and that means that now the hem is bigger or longer than the leg. So I'm gonna measure how much bigger it is and I'm gonna mark it because I want to reduce it. It's very important to make sure to align all those marks. Sometimes it's not that possible because the hem not always are made super straight. I'm making sure to align and pin in order to do my best. When I place the fabric with the foot high, I drop the needle first and then I drop the foot. And that's how I sew it. And you see, it's not really great. You can see it's good at the top, but at the bottom part of the hem is not really that good. So what I'm gonna do is to open that part to see if I can accommodate it, as this fabric is a little bit stretchy, so I might be able to do it. And yes, it looks way better now. So I'm gonna cut the excess of seam allowance. I don't cut all the way just in case I didn't measure very well and I need to let out, you never know. Now I'm going to sew my hem to the pants, and the way I like to do it is to sew the sides first, just to make sure that the seams will align. And as I did before, I lift the foot, drop the needle, and then drop the foot, and this is the way I sew. And I'm just sewing just a little bit, as I said before, just to make sure that they are aligned. This is perfect, it's very good. And then I'm gonna go to my other seam allowance at the other side, and I'm gonna do exactly the same as I did before. I'm gonna try to align my thread first, my seam completely, and then I'm gonna pin it one side and the other side of the seam, and then same needle, foot, sew. And let me see how it looks. Oops, this one doesn't look that good. As you can see, it's not really well aligned. So what I do now is just to remove that seam, and I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna do exactly the same. Let's hope that this time is a little better, and it is. So now that I'm sure that both sides are okay, then I'm gonna sew. And let me show you how I sew that. Look, this is where the original seam was. As you can see the holes. You can see it in the inside is here. So what I'm gonna do is just to stitch my hem right beside this original seam, not in the seam, it's right beside, around 1/16 of the inch or something like that. As you can see, you see, it's just right there. I'm using a light colored thread so you can see better what I'm doing, but try to use the same color as your jean so it looks better. And I have my seam here, as you can see, one side and the other, and now I'm gonna do that at the other side. Remember, something very important as well that we need to do is to cut all the excess of seam allowances, because now we are gonna do the final stitch, and for that we need a thread as close as we can from the original one. This one, This one is not that bad. You see, it looks pretty close, and this is the one that I'm gonna choose. So to sew that seam still is so much, it's so thick and hard. Those faux flat felt sometimes are even more difficult than the original flat felt, but eliminate the excess, use your hammer, and remember a mallet is better, but mine is a very small one, so it's okay. And fold it and try to make sure that is as the original as you can, and then start sewing. When you sew that hem, you have to make sure to sew now exactly in the same point where the original stitch are. So you are going just right there. And something very important is try to fold your hem the same way it was folded when the pants were originally hemmed, and that way the back as well of the stitch might fall in the right place too. And that way you will obtain a very nice, very beautiful. Always the flat felt is the most difficult, but it will be all okay. I finished my first one. I'm gonna go with my second one again, very slowly. You don't have to be fast. And here you go. We got it. It's here. You see? It looks pretty original. Nobody will say, oh my God, this is a hem that is not the original. It looks great. So please let me know in the comment if you think that the extra work to do the hem as the original is worth it, or it's just easier to do the regular hem. If you find this video useful or entertaining, please give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe, share, comment. Bye!